Hi everyone, I'm Chiara Ranieri, a music producer and a singer. In this video I would like to explain how I set up my live show, and I would like to share the inspiration that led me to mix different genres into a single performance. First of all, I don't like to lock myself into just one style, and I find it very challenging and exciting to experiment by starting from multiple musical approaches. And I rearranged all the songs I chose in an electronic key, and the fun part was completely transforming the original sound of some of my favorite tracks. So, I'll briefly explain the background of each genre so you can see from a production standpoint and how the different songs relate to each other. My live set is built around several mashups. The song I picked are Wasteland from the series Arcane League of Legends by Royal and Serpents. Its original style is electronic, alternative or cinematic pop, and this modern genre has absorbed cinematic elements since the 80s and 90s. Think about Depeche Mode or Bjork, and more recently it blended with gaming, TV series and electronic music. I totally love soundtracks, so from this point of view I couldn't resist. I meshed Wasteland with Stole the Show by Kygo. That track is totally a different vibe, tropical house or even ADM pop. Kygo helped pioneer modern tropical house in 2013 by adding a digitalized acoustic instrument like, for example, steel drums and guitars, making it more accessible. We could trace house music back to Chicago in the 80s, then ADM went mainstream in 2000, and with David Guetta, for example, or ABC, and Kygo gave the tropical twist. Next, I jumped to Red Room by Hiatus Coyote. I adore them for their alternative sound, and here we are in a neo-soul, alternative R&B, fusion of jazz, soul, R&B from the 50s to the 70s, for example like Aretha Franklin, to Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, and we are speaking about the 90s here, and from the 2010 on adding electronic and hip-hop elements. It leaves space for experimental chord progression over affected voices and acoustic instruments. After Red Room, that comes Louis Bag by Yebba, another artist I really admire. It shares the neo-soul vibe of Red Room, but with modern R&B electronic influences from Alicia Keys or Frank Ocean, for example, in 2000s. Nowadays, Yebba's styles uses electronic bass, samples, synths, while keeping the vocal performance intimate, polished. One of the things I love the most about this genre. Then I make a big leap into electronic pop house dance with Ringless by Sophie Tucker. This cutting-edge track mixed world music influences with drum machines and strong bass lines for the groove, all designed for clubs and festivals. We can trace like electropop from Madonna in the 80s, Daft Punk in the 90s, and in 2010 it became global alternative sound full of cross-genre textures. The next song is Echo by RSCL, and it blends future bass and chill electronic, and it emerged in the 2000s from lounge and chill outs like 07, for example, and since 2015 it mixed trap, chill step and electronic pop with heavily processed vocal samples and pumping sidechains bass. This sound is very detailed and perfect for experimentation. From this song I took some of the techniques that I performed in live. And finally, I chose one of my favorite songs, Churchyard by Aurora, which is an hard pop, dark electropop. This sound is focused on deep themes, dark atmospheres with electronic textures and unusual timbres. And this style draws on 90s, for example, Björk here as the first song, or Florence and the Machine, more modern, and leading to Aurora's modern ethereal, I would say, approach. In fact, Aurora is one of my favorite artists. Her blend of alternative pop, electronic exploration creates powerful feelings. Her music is about like connecting with yourself, with the music, with the audience in a visceral way, which I found it incredibly inspiring. All of these songs and my live set share production techniques like synths, big stereo layers, sampling, deep reverb, creative delays, automation, filters, and sound design, a specific sound design, careful sound design. Now, about my live set setup, for vocal, I used on effects and distortion, echo, feedback, vocal layering, so my voice become part of the electronic mix. For drums, I tasted a hybrid of acoustic and electronic, drum machines, programmed beats for groove, sidechain compression, kick pumping, all in a flexible arrangement, in a flexible structure. I also used the different drum samples and grooves that span R&B, pop, and house with straight kick. The piano, pad, and bass tracks are all the same across all the mashup, with obviously chords changed via clips during the live. For bass, I used the WAD Opal morphing synth, deep and subby, but with harmonics to drive any style. My synths and pad are airy and stereo wide. Some came from the same plugin as the bass, so the Opal. Others from Arturia Pigments, which is one of my favorite plugin with a constant LFO to add movement. The piano is a simple like Labs plugin, but it always has a soft pad underneath. Always is like in the plugin. For effects, both on instruments and vocals, I used Fab Filter, Timeless, Autopan, LFO mapped to Abeton's utility gain, Outputs Portal, and Valhalla Shimmer, Valhalla Vintage Verb. On vocals, I also used the Wadi Pure Plates, all set up on return tracks, so the sense. Every mashup draws on these creative and sonic techniques. For example, the song Echo, as I said, inspired me to use the slicer and the echo delayed feedback chains. Louis Beck and Echo are the only tracks I kept in the original arrangement. I split there into stems so I could treat vocals, drums, and instruments separately. For Inglés, I just sampled the chorus riff and worked into my arrangement. The live show ran mostly on automated clips, except during the transition when I need time and freedom, like I choose when to change clips. I keep automation on clips for structure, but I trigger them live with a launchpad. I even automate the BPM, starting at 104, then up to 150, then down again to 125, then 115. So the set winds down gradually. I also connected the genre of the first song with the last, so the journey ends where it began. For my vocals, I have 4 harmonies track and one track for the main voice. Each harmony track takes its input from the main. When I record live, the main tracks record into each armed harmony track, then loops. This is my live looping setup. On stage, beside launching clips, I use live effects to move between songs and um, to enrich the performance. I mapped knobs and faders on my Novation control. The top left knob controls the send volume to a vocoder I use on rimless. The first knob on the second row adjusts my reverb dry wet. The first knob on the third row sets to echo rate, echo dry wet, and feedback are on faders 1 and faders 2, while faders 3 has the slicer. Fader 5 and 6 handle echo and feedback for the vocal stems. Fader 7 does the same for instrumental stems, and the last faders cuts off the instrument filters. The bottom right knob, 8, is the cutoff for the original vocals. On the live piano, knob 3 controls both echo and feedback to lay a bed of notes for transitions. I think I said everything. That was my live. And to sum up, I would like to say that rearranging all these songs in an electronic key was a great challenge for me. I followed some of the rules of the genres, but I also let experimentation and contamination take over. Thank you for watching.